Hey guys, what's going on? It's King Clutch here, and today guys, we're back in the NBA 2K21, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys this one build here in this game that can actually speed boost off rip, and it also can get contact dunks. Now, real quick, I'm just going to talk about this. Going into today, which today is Thursday, the game drops tonight at midnight, Thursday night at midnight, Friday morning, and I did not know what build I was going to make. I'm going to be 100% honest, I'm just going to show you guys this. The builds I was contemplating on making were maybe like a small forward, like a blue and yellow small forward, or a blue and red small forward, a playmaking and a lock small forward. But contemplating, thinking about it a little bit more, I'm like, no, to me those aren't really worth it. We got a lot of news here in this past like 12 hours. So I'm just gonna leave this, the handedness and the jersey number the same. I'll just make this a guard. When it comes to this build, okay, we found a lot, because to get pro dribble moves used to be like at a 70. I kind of agree why they raised them, but I don't think they needed to go to an 85. This build, you can either make it as a point guard or a shooting guard. I'm going to go 2 guard. You get more defensive badges when you go a shooting guard, so I'm going to go with that. We did find out in like the last 12 hours that 2K, they raised the pro dribble moves to like an 85. I kind of agree with it, so then centers and locks can't dribble, but my thing is they shouldn't have gone that high. Like, put it at like an 80. Everyone getting pro dribble moves like centers and locks, but I mean, I don't know if they should have gone necessarily that high, but real quick, I just want to talk about this. So they raised the pro dribble moves to 85. So a lot of these builds are shot. So like you cannot get pro dribble moves. Like a lot of these, when it comes to, like, if you wanted to get this 3-and-D lock, you can't get pro dribble moves on this build. A slashing chart, I'm just going to show you guys this. This is on a shooting guard, so the height isn't going to get changed. But when it comes to this potential, when you mess with this, you know, your driving dunks in 78, you can go ahead and upgrade all this shooting. Your ball handle is going to be an 85, which is right where you want it. But I'm just going to show you guys this. I'm literally just throwing this together just to get past this screen. If you leave it 6'5", wait in the middle. Now, usually what you would do is you would just bring this wingspan up so you can get like an 81 driving dunk and then eventually get contact. So you could definitely go with this chart, but you would not be able to get, you know, your contact dunks and ball handle to an 85 until you hit 99 overall. So you definitely have to grind this. So this build is technically still there if you max the wingspan up, but you're not going to get your dribble moves until a 96, and you're not going to get your contact dunks until a 99. This build is still available, and you can do it at a point guard too. It doesn't end up making a difference. I just did it as a shooting guard for this build that I'm gonna make, but I'll show you guys here, I guess, for this point guard. So you can still make a two-way slashing play. It's still available, but it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna get all the animations as it did last year until you actually grind the build out. So that's a key thing. If you don't want to sit there and grind for this game, when it really, most people, if they're able to get their hands on a new console, are only going to be playing the game for 4 months. So as you guys can see here, it's the same thing with the point guard. There's probably a little bit difference in the badge layout, so I'll go ahead and look at that. But if you're doing this build, this is an option. You can definitely go for this if you're trying to get a guard. It's an option, but it's not going to be decent until 99 because you're not going to get the animations. But there is one build that you can get both the contact dunks and the dribble animations off rip, and I'll show you guys. We'll make this a shooting guard. You can go point guard too, but I feel like shooting guard is better. And it's this pie chart here, this playmaking and finishing pie chart here. So this is the build I was thinking about making as a small forward, but it's kind of broken. It's not worth it now because you don't get the dribble moves. Now, one thing I've heard is also strength seems to be very important, is what people have been saying. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. I'm just going to go based on the things that, from what I've heard, it's correct. I don't know, though. I want to mess with it, so I would say mess with the physical, see if strength actually matters, guys. But, you know, 100% like decide on a build, drop the 200k VC, and spend the 50 bucks on the build to max your build out. So I'm just going to go with that for this. I feel like that could be important in some situations, especially with a lot of people. They're going to be making smaller guards this year, because the way this is working is by having the ball handle have to be an 85. A lot of people, they're going to have to rearrange their build. They're going to either have to make their build shorter or change something about it, or completely, you know, T-Rex the wingspan and make the build at least 6'3" to 6. So then with these 9, I can just throw these on playmaking. Just throw these on post moves to get that 23rd playmaking badge. So I'm going to go solid. This, again, doesn't matter if you want to go 6'5", because this honestly may be the build that I end up making. We can go 206. Actually 208 to get your boost to your interior D and your boost to your strength. And now for this wingspan, what you can do is max this wingspan out. You still have an 85 ball handle. So this is one build that off rip you can get your contact dunks, You can get your dribble moves. You can get the pro dribble moves. You have an 86 and an 86. So you're perfectly okay. Now, we've also seen clips of people greening threes with a 63. So this is probably the build I'm going to make. The defense on this build isn't bad. And the reason I went with the shooting guard is you get 6 defensive badges on the point guard version. I'm pretty sure it was only 5. So I feel like that defensive badge is kind of important. So I'm gonna probably go with something like this for a build, to be 100% honest. It just doesn't make any sense not to, because this is the one build right off rip I can have fun with and play with. Max that wingspan out. And if we've seen clips of people hitting with, you know, a 65 and a 72 mid-range, this is better shooting than the two-way slashing play. Obviously, the defense isn't as good, but overall, this is probably the build I'm going to wish lock takeover was an option. But it's not. So for this build, the takeover I would pick slashing take, either of these. I'm just going to go with slashing. As you guys can see, for this build, we're going to get a slashing playmaker that is similar to Kobe, Bradley Beal, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, one thing, I'm going to say this. Before if this is the build I'm honestly thinking of as of Thursday morning at 10:30 in the morning. When the game comes out midnight, the first thing I'm doing, obviously, you make your play. Before I completely decide on a build, I'm going to go through the roster, and I want to see what the top players are listed as build-wise in the league, because if you guys remember last year, the majority of everyone, Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jorda, Kobe might have been a scoring machine, but LeBron, MJ, a lot of the guys up there were listed as two-way slashing plays. One of the metas for 2K was the two-way slashing play. So I'm going to suggest looking at that. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to recreate whatever that build is. I feel like this slashing playmaker, if I can't do that, if I can't recreate it, getting both of those things off rip. But you're getting the two things everybody wants off rip. So I'm going to go with this. I'll go ahead and show you guys the badges I would throw on this build. Now, it's just difficult because since they changed it, everyone's like kind of frantically like, oh, what are we going to make? Because a lot of the builds, like everyone's LeBron build is pretty much gone. You can't do that anymore. So I'd say for this, you want Intimidator, Clamps, and then Chase Down and Rim Protector so you can at least get the leaping animations. I wish there was more defensive badges. But we're going to go with it like this. Now, you could definitely go with the two-way slashing play if you were just okay with having the dribble moves and things later, but you're going to have to grind that. I've heard just with the layup meter this year, Pro Touch could be very useful by having that, and also I completely forgot about contact finisher for some reason, but I would do it something like this for these badges. I feel like Pro Touch definitely, just with the way they redid the meter, could be helpful instead of like Acrobat, so I'm going to use those there. This is what I would do for your finishing badges. Then when it comes to the shooting badges, I would put range extender on gold, difficult shots on silver, catching corner on bronze, deadeye on silver. And then for the real game, hot zone hunter, I would say you'd want, but you need your hot zones first. But before that, I would say probably green machine. I've also heard slippery off ball works really well this year, so this could definitely work. I'm just going to go with the agenda that works as well as people are saying it does. So I would say maybe try this. Green machine could work, volume shooter, and hot zone hunter. So I would do something to the extent of that. I have no clue if slippery off ball actually works. I'm just going based on what I've heard from other people. Making badges, I wish really we had more, but I would put handles for days on Hall of Fame, quick for Steph on Hall of Fame, space gray on Hall of Fame. I put tight handles on silver. You'd want bailout, but for this build in the demo, you're not going to use it, but bailout generally you'd want. I would use floor general for this build, and then I would also throw downhill up here. Ankle breaker even works on builds that don't have playmaking take. That's a big thing. We could definitely try that. You could use dimer or stop and go and unpluckable. I'll just use stop and go. But those are some other options for this build. This is the one build that you can get both the dribble moves and the contact dunks both off rip. It's very important if you want that. And then this way, because a lot of people are going to be shortening their builds to help out with their dribble moves, because it seems like that isn't affecting your wingspan as much. Your wingspan doesn't affect your dribble moves as much as it affects your driving dunk. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's kind of confusing. This is the build I may go with, but I want to check the rosters when the actual game comes out here in a few hours. But tell me what build you guys are thinking of making for 2K21. If you guys want to see more NBA 2K21 builds, please subscribe to the channel, guys. But anyways, it's been King Clutch here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Anyways, have a great rest of your day, and peace out, guys. Thanks.